Welcome back. This video is going to be on The Nature of Our Way, which was written by Scott Cunningham. The first point that he makes is, as often as possible, hold the rites in forests, by the seashore, on deserted mountaintops, or near tranquil lakes. If this is impossible, a garden or some chamber shall suffice, if it is readied with fumes or flowers. So, it's more important to do ritual outside than it is inside. And to do ritual outside, you do not need a whole bunch of ritual tools, because that can be very inconvenient. Unless you are willing to bring them with you, then that's perfectly fine. But you can do ritual outside with absolutely no tools but yourself. Or you can have like a couple of tools, or if you want all of your tools, it's totally up to you. But the important thing is to experience being outside and connecting with nature through ritual. And again, it's not always possible, depending on the weather, depending on where you live, depending on if you're in the middle of a city and can't get to a nice nature spot. And he says, a chamber will suffice if it is readied with fumes or flowers, fumes being incense, and then flowers, because it's nice to have some part of nature in with you anyways if you're doing it indoors. His second point is, seek out wisdom in books, rare manuscripts and cryptic poems, if you will, but seek it also in simple stones and fragile herbs, and in the cries of wild birds. Listen to the whisperings of the wind and the roar of the water if you would discover magic, for it is here that the old secrets are preserved. So he's saying books are important, they do contain wisdom, but the real wisdom is out within nature, and we need to go out into nature and listen to it in order to receive that wisdom, and in order to learn the truly important things. Books contain words, trees contain energies and wisdom books ne'er dreamt of. Again, very true. In the Celtic path, or the Druidic path, there are lots of different trees that are considered sacred, and they are worked with quite frequently. I don't have them memorized off the top of my head, but they're like willow, birch, oak, things like that, and they are considered to have immense wisdom, and it's incredibly important that we go and work with them and learn from them, because they are hundreds, most of them, of years older than we are, and have been around more, and therefore accumulated more knowledge, more wisdom. They've seen more things happen, experienced more things. So I see them as elders that have a great amount of wisdom. So it's very important that we learn to work with trees and their energies, and to learn how to listen to what it is that they're saying. Ever remember that the old ways are constantly revealing themselves. Therefore, be as the river willow that bends and sways with the wind. That which remains changeless shall outlive its spirit, but that which evolves and grows will shine for centuries. Here he's using the willow tree as a metaphor. The tree's branches are flexible, they aren't stiff and rigid, and since they're flexible, when the wind blows, they blow with the wind instead of trying to hold up against the wind. If it just was stiff and unbending and the wind was rushing past it, it would eventually erode away. But since it moves with the wind, less damage happens to it, and it's able to last longer because of it. So he's saying that we need to evolve, and that change is a necessary part of life in order for things to last. If it remains changeless, then eventually it's going to die out. There can be no monopoly on wisdom. Therefore, share what you will of our ways with others who seek them, but hide mystic lore from the eyes of those who would destroy, for to do so otherwise increases their destruction. What he's saying here is, if you know something, if you've learned something, if you've gained wisdom in something, it's important to share it with others. It's important to help them learn too. We can't just always keep it to ourselves and be selfish in that matter. But you don't want to give valuable information away to someone who would use that information to harm others. So you have to be careful with your judgment and not give away too much too quickly. But to those who are true and deserving, it's important to help them learn too. Mock not the rituals or spells of another, for who can say yours are greater in power or wisdom? Again, very important. I know a couple of traditions or people, Wiccans, or in every religion, they seem to do this. Your way's not right. That's stupid. Mine's more effective. Mine's better. Mine's the true way. And that's very unenlightened. It's not spiritually progressive at all to think like that. Because yeah, who's to say that you are right? You don't really know. All you know is what works for you. And that's fine. Use what works for you, but don't bash others for doing something different. Ensure that your actions are honorable, for all that you do shall return to you threefold, good or bane. He's mentioning the threefold law, and I've already talked about how I don't necessarily see it as coming back to you times 3, because that's very imbalanced. But I do believe in the concept of karma. So be careful with your actions. Make sure you think about what it is that you're doing so you don't reap what you sow later if it's negative. Be wary of one who would dominate you, who will control and manipulate your workings and reverences. True reverence for the goddess and god occurs within. Look with suspicion on any who would twist worship from you for their own gain and glory, but welcome those priestesses and priests who are suffused with love. It's important to be careful who you work with. You want to exercise some caution when looking for a coven or other witches or Wiccans to work with. There are some groups out there that use the name Wicca or witchcraft and aren't good people. So you need to make sure that you know who it is that you're working with, and that there's that trust there, that they're not going to harm you and you're not going to harm them. And when you do find spiritual leaders that are filled with love and are teaching out of love, it's important to learn from them and embrace their wisdom. Honor all living things, for we are of the bird, the fish, the bee. Destroy not life, save it to be to preserve your own. So we honor all forms of life, animal, plant, each other. It's incredibly important because we are all connected with that divine energy that's within every living thing. But self-defense is okay. If you need to hurt or kill something else because it would save your own life, or even the lives of others, I would say, like your children, your family, your friends, if you're being attacked physically by someone, then you need to stop them, obviously, and that probably will cause them harm, but it's important to, save your own life, obviously. So, and the last one says, and this is the nature of our way. So, I really like this, not poem, but spiritual teaching. I think it's very wise, and it contains a lot of useful advice for Wiccans and pagans, especially with the whole connecting with nature, doing things out in nature, because it seems like a lot of Wiccans or pagans kind of forget that sometimes, and they're just focused on decorating a room when there's nature, which is already beautiful. I'm not saying it's bad to decorate a room, because I like to decorate too, but it's important to do ritual outside when you're able to. So that's all I have to say about the nature of our way. Thank you for watching, and blessed be.